Hello, chat. It's me, Detective ViBE, and today the case is Sapien Gaming, and we're going to figure out what's going wrong in his Zerg versus Terran matchup. This is a low masters, high diamond situation we have on our hands, and we're gonna get to the bottom of it right now. Welcome to Replay Analysis. I'm ViBE. All right. We got a Zerg player who is rerouting his overlord. What the fuck is going on? All right. I don't like it. Oh my goodness, dude. You are freaking out about proxy Rex. I don't necessarily like it, and the reason why is because you're now going to figure out what he's actually doing if he's not proxying really early. You see, let me just throw this out there, okay? I see in the chat you said, I'm sorry, I copy Cyril, my bad. Let me tell you why Cyril does this. Cyril does not do this versus every single person he'll play against on ladder. Ladder has the highest level of RNG, and your odds now of losing the game are higher because you're fixating on one build and now making the rest of the builds that he could do a mystery. You're increasing the potential you have against one build out of what could be like 10 possibilities. So, my point is Cyril did this 100% guaranteed because he did it in a tournament, or he did it against someone that he knows is prone to proxy. Cyril has information about his opponent before he plays them, just like anyone else does that plays a lot and plays the same people often. And I guarantee he did it because he goes, I am pretty sure my opponent will proxy me. He's rolling the dice when he did that, and he goes, yeah, my opponent's probably gonna proxy. Odds are high. That's the only reason why I did it. This is not his standard, like, I don't know if I'm going to proxy or not. I have no idea. Let's figure that out. So I don't recommend doing this every time. I don't think it makes any sense. It just fucks you over. Yeah. Because now, for instance, if you're doing this build as like a, as your standard, what do you do now? We'll see how you react, okay? Because what could happen is you could be playing really risky. I'm gonna give you some examples of things you would die to in a second here, as I see your build develop more. I like your saturation. I think we've talked about this before. I like it. I like that you're not ripping off. The only time you should ever rip off is if you all in, and it looks like you don't want to all in, so I like this a lot. It's always really bad to just keep fucking your minerals up when you're going to be defensive anyways. So good shit. Good job on that. You're winning in my book. The only thing you're not doing correctly is you have 3 drones on this one patch, and you only have 1 on the other. And not really much is going on right now, so this is definitely the time when you need to take a second and go 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. It's pretty important. Because this is your starting income, and your starting income is now a little bit, it's not much, but it is a little bit weaker than it could be because you have an inefficient drone with an inefficient patch. I'm waiting. I want to see the next units you build.
Under attack.
Okay. So this is my point, right? This is exactly why I think the build you did is it actually has a high chance of getting you fucked over. One example would be if this guy went for a very fast reactor to Hellion pressure. So we're talking about like some rough style shit. RUFF rough, okay? People who play hyper aggro. Let's say this guy actually went for a factory before going for a natural. And then he comes across the map with Hellions. You'd be fucked. 2 Hellions would do way more damage than you'd be able to deal with, because you're not expecting it, you don't know what's happening, and you're going back into droning. That is one thing that could happen. Another one that could happen would be, what if there were 3 barracks right here and he's going mass reapers? You're delaying your speed super hard. I don't think delaying your speed super hard is necessarily bad, but it's not bad if you know they expanded. If they're going to go for a 1 base all in, it is actually really bad to delay your speed like this. If this guy was going 3 racks Reaper, he would have a big buildup of Reapers before you could properly deal with it. Because you're, again, you pulled your drones off gas when your gas only was at like probably like 70. And now you have a really delayed speed, and you're going back into droning as well. That is also another way you could just die flat out. Another one too, which I very highly doubt you would play against right now, against someone in fucking Diamond League. But if the guy was good with ghosts, if he did a ghost opener like Ghost Hellion, you would also die. The longer you don't scout that. You're playing very blind, is my point. It's scary. Another thing you could die to is if the guy seriously just went for like a TLO Wings of Liberty build. If he would just make like 6 racks in his base and was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go mass Marines and we're just gonna SCV pull and kill you, you would also die to that. There's a lot of random all-ins you die to, and the trade-off is you didn't want to die to one of them, which is a proxy racks. So your build is just more unsafe. It's super important to know that. That's the only reason why I'm harping on it. It's very important. Knowing there's a natural is a big deal. And the sooner you realize there's a natural, the sooner you know you're not getting all in. I gotta pause it one more time and just make a point really fast. Realistically, what changes in your build if you do get proxied? Let's just say hypothetically, your Overlord scouted here and you saw 4 racks right there. What would change in your build? Because when a proxy racks shows up at your base, you are still going to make your early lings to deal with a Reaper. You are still going to make your queens to deal with, to inject your bases, but now they can also somehow help you in like smacking SCVs and Marines and shit. And your natural is still not done when you see it. It's very minor what changes in your build if you do or don't see it this early. I'm not saying it's useless. I'm saying it's just very minor. And if you have an Overlord like right here, and you just spot for when the SCVs come up to build a bunker, you should already be making lings anyways for the Reaper. If you're the kind of guy that's like, I'm just going to make mass drones, I don't give a fuck, and then yeah, I can understand that. That's bad. But if you're making anti-Reaper lings anyways, you should already be starting to make lings, and you should be continuing lings to follow up if it's a proxy. If it's a delayed proxy and it's like fucking he waits for longer and now you've started making a couple drones again, it's awkward, but it's still doable. But what that means too is your creep is going to be further out than it should be now, if that's what he does. And I would say making spines and just trying to defend your inside of your base would be the better move. Anyways, I'll move on from this point. I'm just, yeah, I really don't like the scouting you did this game. Because it changes the pace of everything. Because now you're playing this game blind. And it's bad mindset to just assume you can do the same build every time. If one build your opponent is not doing, just that's that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's not proxying me, so I'm just going to do my blind build. Which is kind of what you're doing. You now know you're fighting a 2-on-1. So that scout timing was still, that was a good scout timing you just did. And you should know it's 2-1-1 now. But up to this point, it was blind as fuck. And this could have been a moment where you could have died of many other all-ins.
Swarm has evolved. Queen.
What is a 2-1-1? It's 2 barracks, then a factory, then a starport. It's a Stimpak Marine timing.
Newly birthed queen ready.
Alright, so against a 2-1-1. Okay, you're fine. I was going to say, I would like you to start making lings around, like, if you're doing a standard speedling expand, like, this is pretty standard, mostly. It's in the realm of very standard. Making your lings, starting to make lings again around 420 is great, and you started making them at like 428, it's fine. I hope you don't make a lot of drones right now, though. You need more lings than this. If this turn was good, he would kill you if you stop making lings now. Okay, good. You made more lings. Good. This is fucking scary, though. If this is like a GM level Terran with this, I think you're dead right now. Because this is not enough lings right now. And you only have 3 queens, too. Like, I have died to really good Terrans with defenses like this. You see, all this guy has to do right now. This is also, for some reason, only fucking 11 Marines. This guy's build is not the most efficient. He should definitely have more than 11 Marines attacking you right now. But here's all he has to do. If this guy's not a puss, okay, this is all he'd have to do. Stutter step forward, kill a queen. It would take 2 hits for his Marines to kill your queen, pretty much, maybe 3. Stutter step forward, kill the second queen. I guarantee you he could kill 2 queens before your lings get here. And then he stands there and face tanks your Zerglings. Because by the time your lings get here, his Marines will be mostly healed by the medevacs. These medevacs would heal these Marines in probably like 6 seconds. And it would be about 3 seconds before your lings engage the Marines. I want to watch this micro again. Yeah, I feel like it's just a missed opportunity for Terran. Yeah. He didn't even kill 1. He totally could have at least killed 1. But the thing about Terran, here's a difference between a good Terran and a bad Terran, okay? Or like a Terran who knows what he's doing and a Terran who does not. The only time you ever want to pull back and kite when you're fighting against shit like this is if you need to get to an area that's going to be beneficial to you, or if you think you have enough DPS and the Zerg is thinned out enough to where if you kite backwards, you will kill more than what it's worth. And yeah, like if there's like, let's say there's a queen here, a queen here, a queen here, a queen here, and there's like lings and little staggered formations all over the place, it would actually be more worth it for you to stutter step backwards. But if there's a clump of shit already in your face as Terran, if you're Terran and you're like, wow, there's a massive clump in my face, and especially if there's not any Banes, okay, it's just Zerglings and it's just queens. Instead of stutter stepping backwards, he would actually have been better off if he just stood here with Stimpak and fought you until his Marines were getting close to that point where they're going to break, and then he quickly boosts forward and lifts off and leaves. And then he loads up a bunch of weak Marines. But in the process, you might kill 1 Marine, and he kills like 11 Zerglings. And then he fucking goes somewhere else, like up on the high ground, and lands and heals and comes back really quickly and does it again. You do not ever want to like stutter against a clump with small amounts of Marines. With large amounts of Marines, it's different. You can Maru micro your fucking hearts to your heart's content. But against small clumps of Marines, you could totally take advantage of a Zerg by just standing your ground. And then lifting off before you lose. Because look at when he stutters. I want you guys to look at how much these medevacs heal. Seriously. He doesn't heal his units because he's stuttering with the medevacs. Watch the medevacs. Not healing. Healing, not healing. Healing, not healing. 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 These Marines haven't even been healed from their initial stim pack. Like, he's barely fucking touching the energy on these medevacs. Because the medevacs are like, wait, go, stop, go, stop, go, stop, stop, go, go, stop, go, stop, 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 go, stop. That's not good. Anyways. A good Terran will fuck you up, though, if you don't have enough. And I think you didn't have enough. When this started. You want to have, ideally, Sapien, you want to have, like, 24 Lings or so if you have no Banes. When the shit shows up. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad day. And when the shit showed up, you had, like, 16.
Successful.
And then more started coming out, and it turned into, like, 20. It's close. But he also had the opportunity to kill some queens. Either way, nothing happened. We can move on. I'm just gonna say that good Terrans will make you feel like it'll feel stronger and more broken against good Terrans that actually capitalize. So you'll have to learn that at some point, or get more used to that at some point. Your build is pretty good. I'd love to see some creep in your main. Otherwise, not bad. You're about to be fully saturated by around 620. That's solid. That's GM level. You're macroing. Other than, I feel like, the lack of Lings you had at one point by a little bit. It wasn't even a lot. It was just a little bit. Because the thing is you only had 3 queens. And that was one of your queens that was actually at your third. You didn't have, like, excess queens. Those 3 queens was one of your thirds as well. One of your third queens. It was, I think your build was, if I had to, like, balance it, it was a little too in the greedy scale. And I'm fucking greedy myself. I love being greedy. And I think if you can get away with this right now, it's great, right? It works. But you're going to reach a point when some Terrans will be like, okay, this guy is going to get fucked up now. Because 3 queens and only, like 19, 20 Lings or whatever, showing up against like 15 or 16 Sim Marines with good commitments to the fight, you will die. So just a little bit more Lings, especially if you're gonna kind of like neglect some of the queens here and there. Yeah, it's either like you go queen heavy as fuck and you like reduce your Ling count a little bit, or you make a pretty decent amount of Lings right before the medevacs get there. And your queen count's low. And you're the Ling guy with a low queen count. So I would say when you made that round of 8 drones, maybe don't make those drones and make those Lings first, right around like 420 exactly. That way when the drop gets to your base, you actually have like 24 or 28 Lings and you can actually overwhelm and you get shit on. And then go back to droning once you deal with it. And your saturation will be roughly the same. Like, you might be behind by, like, 5 seconds or 10 seconds into what you are in terms of, like, when you got to your saturation. So instead of 620, you'd be there, like, at 630. And it would be super safe. Otherwise, good. Good shit so far. This is scary. Do not ever leave. Like, I love your creep. Your creep is not bad. Do not ever leave your creep though. Like if these Lings die right now, you could lose the game. All it takes is a couple of engagements that are sloppy and it starts spiraling out of control. And the big reason why I'm telling you that is because you don't know if this guy has a third or if he's 2-basing you. He's got 5 barracks. He does have a third, though. This build's fucking weird. I want to see what he builds first. It looks like he builds the barracks first. He builds them all at the same time. Okay, he builds the command center first, but then he starts building the barracks right. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. You would classify this as a third base. Third CC Terran. Because the third is making an orbital before the add-ons are even done. But we'll say keep this in mind, okay? Keep this in mind. Because you don't know, right? If this dude didn't even bother building this orbital command and he invested into this faster, okay? If he just went faster fucking barracks and he's on 5 racks quicker, and he's also on like he's making like a couple of tanks and medevacs, and he pushes you where he has, let's say he has like a couple tanks here or like a couple tanks here, and he pushes you with marine tank as hard as possible. If you take a fight like that, where you take one fight poorly off creep and you bleed out like, let's say 20 lings, you literally lose the game. So you gotta be very careful about shit like that. That will throw the game so many times against a Terran who is all-inning you. So this is really risky, what you're doing. Okay, you pulled back really quickly though. That's good. You're defending your 4th, which is good, but you're not actually committing to it. I was hoping not to see all your links just die. But yeah, good shit. I can't really fault you, honestly. I was about to, but you have the right idea. You're splitting up your shit to defend both sides, and you're just zoning your 4th. You're not actually chasing. So, yeah, good stuff. I do think your scouting is really bad this game, though. I think you need to, at the very least at this point, have tabs on his 3rds. Okay, new build for you. Right now, right here. When you get to this point right now, you've already started, like the second you start your 4th base, I want you to start a proxy hatch, or a macro hatch in your main. Every single game. You physically won't be able to spend your money. With the way you're saturating your bases, it's like a beautiful pizza pie, okay? It's good. Sapien, you have good saturation. I would be proud of you. I'm proud to say your macro is good. I'm not just saying that like, oh, it's good for your level. No, your macro is good in general. Like, this is a very respectable time to get drones. The way you have them. But at this point, you have way too much money now to spend on 1 hatchery per base. There is no fucking way you're ever going to spend your money. So a great thing for you to do now would be, when the 4th base is done, you take one of your creep spreaders, one of your queens, and it becomes an injector for that base. And now you, at the same exact time you build this, you build a macro hatch. And this queen now just double dumps. You just inject, and then whenever you have excess energy. And like, for instance, let's say you get to a point where you have like 75 energy, okay? And you're like, inject. And then your queen at your natural has 75 energy as well. A great thing to do would be tell this queen, once you injected your main and your other macro hatch in your main, to go to your natural. And the natural queen that has 75 still, inject this hatchery once and go up here and continue injecting the hatcheries up top. You just want to make like all your queens that have excess energy, dump it into the macro hatches. And you could even add in a second macro hatch if you go back up above 1,000. If you ever go above 1,000 minerals in the early stage like this, when you're sub like 150 supply, add another macro hatch. Because you're gonna struggle to spend your money. And the reason why it's really important is because if you make another macro hatch and like it, literally up to 2 is good enough. You won't really need more than 2. It's either 1 or 2. But if you make enough macro hatches to guard your bases and you don't lose your 4th, you take a 5th, you don't lose your 5th. You have control of the game and you're very likely going to win the game. But if you make macro hatches later on, but you didn't make them soon enough, and suddenly your 4th gets killed because you just have like 1,200 in the bank or 1,700 in the bank, but your 4th base dies, you've put the game in a situation that's so hard to recover from, and it's you're gonna lose probably because of it. So opening Ling heavy styles is totally fine. I approve of it. Just macro hatch faster. 4th base is also the same exact time you should make a macro hatch. Speed it up a little bit. We were past this point already. This is when you don't overcommit, which is good. Your creep is not looking bad.
Creep tumor under attack.
I love your split of your units. Creep does need to be in the main pretty hard though. Not only because it's vision for the main. I know you have this overlord here and this overlord here, which is great. But it just makes a big difference. If the guy ever doom drops you, your Banes and your shit and your Lings can actually get in there quick and defend it. It just makes you more secure, and it's so easy to do. And it eliminates one of the options for Terran. Like, it makes it one of those options for Terran where they go fucking super all in, harder to do. And also, if you ever somehow miss a medevac that flies against the edge of the map and you just don't see it, but it's unloading here, it's a backup failsafe where it's like, oh shit, he's unloading in my main, not unloading into fog.
Swarm
So yeah,
forces
creep in the main.
under attack.
Minor, very minor detail, but I think you should do it every game.
Mineral cluster expended.
Like a great way that I do, creep in the main, is I will literally add a creep tumor in my main with like it's like my third tumor, right? Or maybe even my second tumor. And what I will do is I will spread it through the main from like the back first, spread it down the side, and then I'll have it jump out of my main to the top side. So this creep tumor would literally be the creep tumor I spawned initially in my main. It'd be like creep tumor here, goes to here. There, goes to here. Here, goes to here. Here, jumps down to here. And then you could go on from there. And it just goes along the top.
Evolution. Sequences spun. Swarm.
You have well-timed structures. If you start Hive and 2-2 right now, which it looks like you are, this is very good. Solid as fuck. I commend you on your upgrade timing. That's super good. One thing I would love to see you do, though, as well, I think you might be doing it. Dude, if you're doing it, Sapien, you're a god. If you build a fucking spire right here, I am so proud of you. Oh, I thought the drone was going to go build the spire. Spire, though, as well, would be great right now. Because you could switch this build. It's really good because if you don't break the Terran's tanks, this composition starts getting a bit dicey. If you just keep killing Marines, it's cool, it's nice. But the big thing here is breaking the Terran's tank count when they go bio-tank like this. If you don't ever break the tank count because the Terran never takes a stupid fight, or you just don't take good enough fights, which is, it's very possible. There's plenty of games that I play where I'm like, ah, fuck, I can't break the Terran's tank count. And now it's at like 8. Now it's at 10. Now it's really fucking scary. Like, double-digit tank counts is insanely scary for Ling, Bane, Hydra. Anything around like 6+ is pretty scary still, even then. But I would love to see you also make a spire, and you don't have to go mass broods or anything like that. You could just make like 5 or 6 broodlords, and suddenly it doesn't matter if he has 12 tanks, 15 tanks, 7 tanks, 9 tanks. Tanks suck dick as soon as the broodlords come out. It's so good. And yeah, you guys are asking, I think you're asking when the spire goes down. You make it right when the hive starts, because a broodlord or a spire and a hive have both a 71-second build time. So you can literally start a greater spire the second the hive finishes, which is what a greater spire requires.
Under attack.
So right now, Sapien, at this point in the game, the best thing you can do, because you have a great economy, would be, again, macro hatch, because you're going to be looking for trades, is what it looks like, because you do not have a spire on the way. You're not going for this cost-efficient transition to broodlord build.
Yeah.
What it looks like you're doing... Oh, excuse me. Jesus, I can't breathe. What it looks like you're doing is you're just going for map control, which is totally fine. It's respectable, right? You might still go for broods eventually at some point anyways, which is great. But you have the ability right now to fuck your opponent up. Okay? You have the ability to do that. What I would love to see you do is I would love to see you scout his potential base counts. And we'll see what do you see right now? You see, you can assume there's a base here, right? Is like no one builds a fucking sensor tower in the middle of nowhere. You can assume there's probably a sensor tower like right here or there or whatever. And there is going to be a base that is corresponding with that. It's going to be located with the sensor tower. So you're assuming there's a third, and you're assuming correctly. Every turn does that. But you don't know if there's a planetary here or a base here. You don't know if there's a planetary here or a base here. You don't know if the guy's insanely greedy. You don't know about how much bases this guy is actually on. And all you know so far is this guy did a 2-on-1 Stimpack timing to you. He did not lose his units, really. He just backed off. He tried a second timing with most of the same medevacs he hit you with the first time. Hit you up here like 2 minutes later and didn't do much. He killed a few lings here and there, and he backed off. He didn't show you any tanks. He didn't show you anything besides bio medevac, and it was just little bits of it. You don't have a lot of information as to what's happening right now. And what if there was a ton of tanks at this base, which there kind of are. There are 4 tanks already here, and there's a bunch of bio here. And let's just say there was a wide open planetary. This Terran, and let's say it was just a planetary. There's no wall here, hypothetically. And let's say you go, you know what, fuck it. Let's take a fight right here. When this could have been the fight you took, and it would have been 10 times better because you could have wiped out a 4th base. And it would have been so easy because his army's all located at the orbital. Things like that. Using your army more intelligently. Like, not rushing the fights, but cost efficiently using your units to take good fights. So we'll see what you do. You poke forward, he's unsieged, he sieges, you back off. You have 2, okay, fucking solid. You are impressing me, Sapien. Okay, I keep seeing you do things that seem almost bad, like your positioning of your shit sometimes. But then you impress me with your, when you don't commit and you have something like this going on. Like, you would have actually capitalized on what I just said. So, good shit. That's fucking right on, dude. Like, that's exactly what you should be doing. Now, at this point in time, you should not be engaging with this army. This is a no-no. This is a negative. If I fucking watch you engage with this army, I'm going to be a little sad. I think you might, though, because you're going for a multi-prong attack. The reason why you should not engage with this army is because of this, okay? It's push and pull, right? Think about it like this. You just pulled the army here, which is fucking amazing. If the guy has like, you know, he's just got a solid line of units. You just pulled that line all to his 3rd, which means you just opened the door to his natural, which is fucking really good because I approve of this attack so much. This is very good. You just literally opened the natural up to be like, hey, come defend your 3rd. The natural is gonna die now. Go for the natural. The natural's dead. Like, this natural is going to take some serious damage. And what's gonna happen when you attack the natural? You're going to pull him to the natural, but it's going to be getting pulled to his natural as you kill the natural. What could happen then is if this army goes, let's go and defend this, guys. We got to defend our natural. You then attack with this army, and you now attack an open 3rd. But if you just pulled his army to his 3rd and you just attack simultaneously at the exact same time, you will do damage to fuck his 3rd up, but you will throw away everything at his 3rd. And now your army is substantially weaker than it could have been. But you're still fucking his natural up. This is really good. Overall, this is still a good fight for you, but it could have been better. Because what you have to chalk this up to now is SCV kills. But if you would have done it the way I said, you could have even killed his 3rd command center. You could have not only killed all of his SCVs at his 3rd, you could have killed all his SCVs at his or most of his SCVs at his natural, and I guarantee you could have also killed this orbital. And if you did it like that, you would just win the game. The game is over, and he's dead. But now he's stabilized. He's like relatively stabilized because you threw your shit away. And this is, again, the problem that you're going to run into, where if this guy goes for a counterattack, the fact that you don't have macro hatches and you are going heavily back into a Zergling style again, you're going Lingbane Hydro once again. You have a lot of bank that you're not going to be able to spend, and one of the only ways you'll die here is if you...
Sup chat. Here for a great convo. Anyone else think it's weird that ViBE still shows up here and does random shit?
No.
Hashtag chat not stream. Hashtag note about vibe. Hashtag upside down dicks.
Gecko, I fucking love you, man. I'm doing a replay analysis right now really fast, but Gecko, you're a boss. I appreciate the 100, man. You're a upside down dicks, dude. That's what it's all about. Thank you so much. I fucking love you, Gecko, okay? It's not awkward. It's bromance. Much love, man. Absolute beast. Alright. What I was saying... Gecko, thank you, dude. What I was saying about this, this macrohatch thing was... You're going back into a Lingbane Hydra style. And the one way you have now created yourself to lose the game. You've created a situation where you had a lot of control of this game, and you've now created a situation where you can now lose the game. And the only way that's going to happen, which might happen, I don't know how this replay ends. You actually still could win this. The only way you could lose here is if you over-invest your army into attacking his base, and he doesn't take as much damage as he should have, which is why we just described why that happened with the whole push and pull. You could have done a lot more. But now you've just given him the confidence to go, time to counterattack. And because you don't have enough larva, and you're going into a very larva expensive build again, which is lots of lings, there's a chance where he might take a fight that you're not ready for because your army's not big enough again yet. And he might whittle your army down. And suddenly he kills your army and now kills this base. And then he pushes forward and kills this base. And you keep trying to remax as much as you can, but you don't have enough larva. And that's because of your bank. Like, you have more than... Your bank is amazing, right? But you should be able to spend it. Especially if you're not going for a hive tech unit that is more expensive. Like, if I would have saw you make a greater spire... Or, sorry, a spire right when you started the hive and you went straight into a greater spire, I would have been like, right now would be the perfect time to have 8 corruptors turning into broodlords. And when he shows up, he just gets shut down. Which is very realistic of what could have happened. But there's no hive tech, you're just going straight into lings again, so you could totally die. And also, just throwing this out there too, this is not as strong as you think when the tank count starts getting really high. Lingbane, or Banelings specifically, is exponentially more effective the less tanks there are, and it gets shittier and shittier the more tanks there are. The only way you can counteract the higher tank count is by having a bigger spread of units. So if I were behind you right now, if I was like coaching you like live and I was watching you play this game, I would say to you right now, I'd say, all right, dude, you have a lot of money and he's probably going to counterattack you right now, and you're going to go Lingbane. The best thing you can do is let him show where he's going to attack you from first. Do not rush into a fight. Wait till he commits to creep and attack him from as many angles as you can. Because if you take a fight really fucking fast off creep, like right here or something, you are going to die. Like, your army will just bleed out and die. You didn't really kill a lot of his tanks, which is the scary part. If you come from one angle, you are reducing your chances to win. And you're rushing into a fight. There is no need to rush into this fight. You're rushing into a fight where your Terran opponent knows he is going to be behind the longer this game continues. Look at the economy. You are mining more than him by a lot. You have no reason to force a fight really fast. You're not maxed out because you don't have enough larva. The best thing you can do right now is make more larva and let him commit to creep and, like I said, get a nice surround. You're taking a fight though off. You're looking like you're going to take a fight off creep because the replay is almost over, and it's going to look really bad because your banelings are just going to go. They're just going to explode everywhere. Look at this shit. This is a high tank count. And now you've honestly kind of thrown the game, because what's happening now is well, not even, dude. You're not even dead yet. You still could win this game, but the game is starting to spiral out of control for you because you're taking impatient fights. Imagine if you didn't take that fight, okay? Imagine if you did not take that fight. And now all these other units that are spawning, which is still equal supply to the Terran, those are added on to the army you just threw away. The army you just made just now is going to engage him from this side, and the army you just threw away is coming up the back because you let him kill this base. You literally let him kill this base because there's no reason to defend it. It doesn't fucking matter. It's just a hatchery. There's not even any drones at it. But now suddenly, if you move your main army that just died between here and here, not only do you cut off reinforcements from his army by not allowing him to parade push you, because your army is between his army and his base, but you also create a situation of unsafeness for the Terran, where now you have the ability to surround him. But what's going to happen, though, is what I think is going to happen is he's going to siege up here. He's going to kill your next wave of shit. And then he's going to have his units in the back would actually regroup with his main army. And now his army gets even more reinforced. And then he just keeps pushing you little by little by little by little until you die. And yeah, the replay's over in the next few seconds. So I imagine you just get fucking owned here. Your army just dies to this. That's funny. I like what you said. But not today. Fucking tons of potential, dude. Sapien, you have the macro of a GM capable Zerg. I say that in all honesty. Like, I'm not just fluffing your fucking pillow right now. You have the ability to macro like a GM player. The only thing you need to change is macro hatches. And also your hive timing needs to be a little bit faster. Like, well, not your hive timing, but your hive tech. You have a fucking amazing hive timing because you're going infestation 2-2. That's perfect. That's a great hive timing. That's flawless. But your tech of your hive is so fucking late. You definitely need that a little bit faster. I would highly recommend the Spire when you start the hive. But your engagement choices are super impatient. Very, very, very impatient. So just work on that. And just know that, for example, you should, this is why I think scouting bases is so important. If you scouted this base, this base, this base, this base, this base, like I was talking about earlier, you eventually sent a second group here to kill like the potential planetary that would have been there. The second you realized this guy is on 3 bases and you were on 5, there should have been no reason why you feel like you have to rush fights. Ever. He killed your 6th unsaturated base. And you forced yourself to take a fight. So that's one of your biggest mistakes this game, is just your rushed engagements. Just know that you also, if you're the one who if you're going for like what you did here, where you have better macro than your opponent and you have the advantage to like attack him, you can take more methodical fights. You don't have to rush it all simultaneously. Just think about like the kind of shit that I said, like the whole push and pull thing. That'll seriously make a big difference if you follow that mentality. Like if you want to attack your opponent's natural and you show up at his 3rd with an army, but you don't commit to it and you back up, that's fucking super smart. Because now your opponent's gonna be like, shit, my opponent's at my 3rd. He's at the 3rd, and suddenly you're like, no, I'm actually hitting your natural. What's he gonna do? What's his reaction gonna be? He's not gonna be like, fuck the 3rd or fuck the natural. It's gonna die. We need to defend this motherfucking 3rd because there was an army here a second ago. No, the Terran's going to be like, shit, defend the natural. He's going to run everything on stim pack as fast as he can back to his natural. And like 10 seconds later, you see his army stimming forward into his depots. And you're just like, let's go hit that 3rd. You know what I mean? Just a little bit more patient play in your decision making. And you will be 10 times better at mid-game ZvT. And the last thing too is don't ever feel afraid of Terran when they get to a point when they have a lot of tanks. Just know that when they have a lot of tanks, you need to tech and do something else. You can beat tanks with Hydroling Bane and the only Hydroling Bane, but the only way it works is if you're either really aggressive and you're successfully killing tanks repeatedly, so you're keeping the tank count really low. We're talking about like 4 or less. Or If the tank count gets high and you're still like, you know what, fuck it, we're going Ling Hydra Bane, boys. I don't care that the tank count's really high. We're going Ling Hydra Bane. Spread your army. Be patient. See where he's coming from with a Zergling Scout, with a Changeling, with your creep spread, whatever the fuck you got to do, and go, all right, let's get a nice flank, a nice wraparound, and then smash his army. Not come from one direction and just eat the fucking, like the tank shots left and right, and then lose my entire front line before we really connect. You know what I mean? It's the only way you're going to take good fights against lots of tanks. But Broodlords are so easy. Seriously, you make like 5 Broodlords or 6 Broodlords, and you can then just have your army chilling behind your Broodlords. Watch your Broodlords move forward. Start making his own tanks splash his own bio. What's a Terran going to do in that situation? 100% guaranteed, he's going to unsiege his tanks. You know what you do then? You engage with your army. And you could then theoretically engage from one direction. Because Lings run faster than everything he has, and you will surround and kill everything that it's retreating. And if he sieges his army, you know what you can do? Back up your Lingbane Hydra up to your Broodlords again, and let the Broodlords restart the process. He will lose so much shit if you play like that. If you saw my games against Top yesterday in the show match that I played against him, that's exactly what I did. I kept making him unsiege with Broodlords and just running his army over with ground army. There's no way Terran can deal with that if they don't have, like, if they play like this, which is what every Terran you're going to play against that goes bio plays like. Like, for this point in the game. I'm not saying this is what he's going to do all game, but for the first time you have Broodlords and he's doing a tank push, it is a great way to shut down a buildup of tanks. And then as soon as you shut down that buildup of tanks, it is very rare, almost never happens, where the Terran is going to rebuild up a ton of tanks. Instead, he's going to be like, oh shit, Broodlords, let's start making Vikings, let's start making Ghosts, maybe some Thors. You know what I mean? He's not just going to go mass tanks. So then, if you really wanted to, you could be like, okay, well now I could actually even just go back into Ling Hydra Bane, and now suddenly it's way more effective again, because he doesn't have 10 fucking tanks. Hopefully, you know, everything we just talked about makes sense. You have any questions really quick, Sapien? About anything that I just talked about? Before we end the session, I'll happily answer any questions you have, though, if you have any. Your plan is Vipers and Hive Tech. What do you think of that? No, don't do that. Vipers are, first of all, if this patch goes through with the Ghost buff, Vipers are going to be even worse than they were before. I'm not saying Vipers are bad, but it's going to be harder to make Vipers work than it already is. Secondly, Vipers require an aspect of timing, and if you play impatient at all, you're going to fucking flop your Vipers over. It's going to be a super fail. You have to be extremely patient and extremely methodical with how you engage a fight to make Vipers actually look good. If you're impatient, it's not going to go very well with Vipers. It's going to be a fucking mess. Broodlords, however, are way easier. You can seriously just send the Broods forward and have your army near the Broodlords. Broodlords are literally on a move, and they just do everything for you. Because if he does not unsiege, he will lose his shit so fast from splash. Friendly fire splash damage. I would recommend trying Broods. You don't even need to go for a lot, just like 6 Broodlords. Just make 6. Try that out. And then also, you know, if another thing too is if you go for like an Ultralisk Cavern, it would not be a bad idea either if you do the push and pull thing. And let's say you fuck the Terran up pretty bad, but he doesn't quite die, and you lose everything in the push and pull, but you do a lot of damage in the process. You could totally, if this guy pushes like he did, if you would have had an Ultra Din then and you remaxed Ultra, you would have won the game as well. That also would have happened. But as it was, you died. Anyways, thank you very much, man, for buying a analysis. I appreciate it, Sapien. Hope it helps. And thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until next time, stay awesome, everybody. Peace. Bye. See you guys.